Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Singh Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.
Iowa lawmakers get ready for a new session. What's at the top of the agenda for 2019? And a camp for children whose parents have cancer. How to get your child involved in the cities. When Iowa lawmakers return to Des Moines this month, Republicans will be in control of the state government. Governor Kim Reynolds will be sworn in as the first woman elected governor in the state. And Republicans will once again control both the state Senate and the state House. The Des Moines Register reports that if you add up all the votes in all the legislative races, Republicans actually only narrowly beat the Democrats, 50% to 49%. But let's be honest, that doesn't matter. Winning is winning. And what will be the Republican agenda? And how will Democrats react? Joining us is Iowa State Representative Sidney Winkler, Democrat from Davenport, State Representative Gary Moore, Republican from Bettendorf. Thank you both for joining us.
Absolutely.
Let me start with that. Republicans are in control. You've been in control.
Yes.
Did you accomplish everything in the last session, or is there a whole lot more that still has to be done?
There's still more, Jim, that we want to do. We're very pleased the people of Iowa gave us power back of all three branches again. We think the people are happy with the fact that we balance budgets, the fact that we watch our spending, the fact that Iowa's ranked #1 state in the nation, that we have one of the fastest growth areas for wage increases. We think things are going well. And so we're very pleased to be back in control, and we're looking forward to this legislative session.
The fact that the governor's race was so close, does that give you any indication that the state is still split, that you don't have, the full control of all the state peoples?
Well, the governor's race was close, but in the end, the people made their decisions, and they elected a Republican governor. Republicans to control the House, and Republicans to control the Senate. So now it's up to us to legislate and to do good for the people of Iowa.
Well, this doesn't really help the legislature, but as far as the Democrats are concerned, the shining light, of course, was the congressional races.
Sure.
Where you flipped them. So what's the role of Democrats right now in the state of Iowa for this session?
Well, certainly we want to cooperate and work with the Republicans as we move Iowa forward. We want to be included. I think that will be one of the things. In many times, we kind of are included at the back end once all the decisions are made. And the split in the House is 54 to 46, so it's very close, and people expect us to be at the table when the conversations occur.
Once again, we were talking that, at least in the House, very much so, the Democrats do very well in the urban areas and not as well in the rural areas.
Yeah.
What does that say? I mean, is your message not getting out, or what is going on?
Well, I would actually, Fred Hubbell, our gubernatorial candidate, won in 3 of the 4 congressional districts. And so it was just the 4th congressional district that he didn't carry. However the House and the Senate districts are split, I think we have a great message and a great number of people who support what we want to do with Iowa.
And we were talking about the fact that there's about a dozen House races in Iowa where the Democrats were unchallenged. Is that something Republicans have to work on, is to get good quality candidates that can challenge some of these Democrats?
I don't know what's normal, Jim, in that case. Certainly in every district, it's up to Republicans and Democrats to decide if they want to run. By the way, I do want to make a comment in your question to Representative Winkler. The Speaker appointed me chairman of the Appropriations Committee for Transportation and Infrastructure, and the very first call I made was to my ranking member, the Republican senior member, Representative Cahoon from Burlington. As soon as she made that appointment, that I want to work with him, I want him to be included, I want to know his opinions, and I think that's the way we can best govern.
When we talk about bipartisanship, a lot of times the tenor of the session is started with the condition of the state address that the governor will be giving on January 15th. What do you hope to hear from Kim Reynolds?
Well, I expect that we'll hear something about the children's mental health initiative. The reports are in. They've made recommendations not only for the funding but for the policy itself, and we really need to have a cohesive system that way. I would like to hear her target for supplemental state aid, our school aid. That will be determined within the first 30 days. I think that probably there will be something on water quality. We still have some work to do in regard to that, and it would be great just to hear what she has planned.
Have you any inkling on what the governor will be saying?
No, I don't, and I agree with Representative Winkler. I also want to hear something on the Future Ready Iowa. One of the big issues for me in running was to help people get jobs, good paying jobs, good jobs for our companies. Too many of our companies can't find qualified employees. And so one of the priorities for me is the Future Ready Iowa funding, and to help increase funding for educating Iowa's populace to help them get good quality jobs.
You're absolutely right, because when you're talking about Iowa's unemployment rates at historic lows, that's a double-edged sword in some ways, because yes, you want everyone to work, but you have businesses that are having troubles finding well-trained employees.
In order to meet the projected openings by 2025 that the governor is using as her basis for the Future Ready Iowa, there's a gap of 150,000 people in the education pipeline. 30,000 of those are in our higher ed. We don't have enough in the pipeline in order to meet the needs that are projected. And so I hope that we have some, not only focusing on existing workers and retraining and gaining skills, but also how we will bring more people into the education system, potentially from outside of Iowa.
When the governor was campaigning, one of the places that she did stop was the Blong Technology Center, which is part of Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, and used that almost as a shining light as well of training, especially for some of the new businesses near Kraft Heinz and the other businesses that are opened up in that area. Is that something that you want to see more of? Is that something that Iowa needs to invest more in, even more so than perhaps the four-year universities?
Well, having spent 41 years in higher ed administration with the community college system, many of those years, and working at the Blong, that's exactly one of the things we need to do. We need to expand those types of opportunities for our companies and for our citizens, to provide good quality education, to help people get jobs, help them increase their salaries, and help Iowa become more competitive in the international marketplace for our industries.
So what is the role then of the four-year universities when you're talking about the University of Iowa and Northern Iowa and Iowa State? I mean, are they falling more by the wayside because they are not as necessary as the "we need these workers now" fields?
I think that certainly a four-year degree takes longer. I mean, just by the amount of credits that it requires. However, communities need those professionals in their community to provide the services, healthcare for one, education for another, and many entrepreneurs come out of a four-year opportunity, and so we need to support both. Our Regent universities currently are $100 million below FY09 funding levels. And so more and more of the costs are being shared by families. Similar to community colleges in the fact that we have backed away from our funding, but not as significant as what we've done with higher ed and Regents.
When it comes to these four-year colleges, I mean, you really do have kind of three choices: either raise tuition, you guys spend more by the state government, or start cutting back because there's some unnecessary programs or unnecessary classrooms. What do you want to see as far as the 4 years?
Well, I think it's important for the people of Iowa to understand, Jim, and I think many of them do. We want to fund as much education, not just universities, K through 12, community colleges, as we can. However, we can't break the bank. We can't spend more money than what we have. It's important to know that our Regents institutions, by and large, charge tuition at the lower end of their various competitors around the country. The University of Iowa charges a lower tuition rate than many of the other colleges and universities in their category. So there is some room there for increased tuition rates. I'm not interested in increasing all of the funding from the state level when the students who come to the University of Iowa are paying considerably less than other universities around the country. Certainly I want it to be low, but there's a partnership there that we need to keep in balance.
I think we need to think about not only the competition among the similar universities, but Iowans' ability to pay. And if they can't afford higher education, we know that the majority of jobs are going to be with some post-secondary education. So basing tuition on what other states are charging is one method, but looking at Iowa's ability to afford our own quality education at our institutions is the other way. And I don't want to price ourselves out of a family's budget.
One of the big fights that are starting already in January has to do with a 1% increase in wages for the next 2 years for unionized public workers that the state is offering. Of course, AFSCME is saying no, we'd rather see 2 to 3%. Where do you see it should fall? And do you think this is going to be part of a contentious fight over organized labor in Iowa in the next 12 months?
I don't know. That is a conversation between the executive branch and the workers.
Exactly.
Absolutely. The one thing I do know is that we have not done regular salary increases for the last 8 years. We haven't had a salary bill. So everything that the workers earn comes out of existing funding levels, which makes it very hard, and it stretches everyone to be able to provide the same level of services. So part of the negotiation would be the give and take that way, and we'll see where we end up. Certainly the legislature would have the responsibility to fund whatever is decided in negotiations.
You want to run a lean government, but not necessarily a lean and mean government. So I mean, the real question is 1% enough?
Well, there again, to me it's not what's enough. We're not going to spend more money than what we have. And when we look at increasing salaries for employees, which is necessary, Representative Winkler talked about being down $100 million in Regents funding. Increasing funding for community colleges, there's only so much to go around. We have to look at that as a legislature and say, based upon the resources we anticipate that we're going to have, we can commit these dollars to these various programs. It's never enough. People continually come to me and say, please spend more money on my program. And it's probably necessary, but we don't have unlimited resources. And so we have to make a decision about where those dollars go and be cognizant of the fact that we're not going to spend more than what we bring in.
The other issue, of course, that you're going to be discussing whether or not there's going to be changes or not is the changes the privatization of the Iowa Medicare program, something that Democrats have been fighting against, something the Republicans have pretty much said, yeah, we know there's problems, it might need tweaking, we need adjustments. So where do we stand right now? How do you think the Republicans are going to deal with that in this coming session?
Well, I think, I haven't talked recently with Representative Winkler. From my calls from constituents, my calls are way down. I think there's improvements that have been made. The governor has said that we're not going back to the statewide system. We couldn't afford the statewide system, state-operated system. It was eating up more and more of the budget. And so we, like families, all families in Iowa, have had to go to managed care. Is it the best? I don't know. But we've got to provide the most services that we can for the dollars. And so we're continuing to improve the current program. I think we need to keep looking for ways to improve it, but we can't afford to go back to the state-operated system.
The state-operated system was an efficient system. First of all, any provider, you went to the state and they had one answer. Right now, institutions have 3 different people that they, depending on what insurance provider they're contracted with. And there could be different answers depending on the day. The bigger piece is we have cut services to individuals. We also have not paid the bills on time, and there really isn't any accountability in that system. It took the auditor a great deal of time to figure out what the actual costs were. We need to know that. That should be transparent. And so there are those kinds of things that we need to assure. One, that the services are provided, the providers are being paid on time, and then we really have a true understanding of what it's costing. They are identifying that costs are escalating more than what they did when we ran the system. One of the bigger pieces is 3 to 5% administrative costs. When we ran it, we're allowing up to 15% for the providers or for the MCOs. That's a huge shift, and it's not going towards service.
Well, and there's been a huge argument about having numbers that you can both agree on.
Absolutely.
And that might be something that has to be ironed out in this session as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jim, I also want to mention last session we did pass one of the strictest laws in the country for improving oversight of our Medicaid program. So that providers get paid on time, and we need to make sure that that piece of legislation works, because we are cognizant of it. But we need to make it better. We don't want to throw out the new system and go back to something that we couldn't afford.
We're going to have to leave it at that. Representative Gary Moore, Representative Cindy Winkler, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Good luck in the session.
Thank you.
Have fun in Des Moines. In a moment, giving kids a break from their cancer in their homes, and how Augustana College students are making a huge difference in that, and how you can get your kid in on the fun. But first, here's Laura Adams, Out and About.
This is Out and About for December 31st through January 6th. Let's kick off 2019. Calling all brides, the Wedding Max Bridal Show is coming to the TaxSlayer Center. $5 tickets in advance or $10 at the door. January 5th from 10:30 to 2 p.m. New Year's Day, it's the Resolution Run benefiting Youth Hope. So start your New Year's resolution running starting at 1 p.m. Or enjoy the community open house at the German American Heritage Center on January 5th. Come and see 3 exhibit spaces and browse their collection in the gift shop. The following day, the German American Heritage Center presents O.J. Fargo, a one-person performance based on a Civil War soldier from Iowa. Remember the King, celebrating the music of Elvis, is a once-in-a-lifetime New Year's Eve experience at Circa 21 Dinner Playhouse, complete with midnight toast and party favors. And ring in the new year with a tribute to 2 of the greatest singers to ever live, James Brown and Aretha Franklin at RME. There's still time to enjoy the following exhibits through January 6th. Winter Nights, Winter Lights at the Quad City Botanical Center, French Moderns, Monet de Matisse at the Figge Art Museum, or the Putnam Museum's Literary Heroines exhibit, all closing on the 6th of January. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. Jason Carl is a Davenport singer and songwriter who blends rock and folk music into his original recordings. Team him up with Ben Lawrenson, Steve Lauder, Jamie Hopkins, and Serena Whitmer, and you've got Jason Carl and the whole damn band, as they're called. But we caught up with him in a solo performance at Moline's Black Box Theater. So here's Jason Carl with Just Like Yesterday.
Well, the day I almost died, always wonder what I think of first. The day I almost died from drinking, or the day I almost died of thirst. Oh, well, I'd like to keep on living. Yes, I hope I can see tomorrow. Well, I want more joy and laughter. Oh, but I don't want no more sorrow. And I've had some time to think about my future, and if I can get out of my own way, it won't be nothing like yesterday. Old memories that haunt me, they repeat, play in my lemonade comes in a bottle. Yeah, bottles ain't hard to find, but I ain't good at saying no when nobody even offers. Now I guess I'll just have to help myself. Well, I've had some time to think about my future. I guess I can't get out of my own way. Oh, it's just like yesterday. But I'm looking at my future. Yes, I'm looking at my past. I've crossed all the lines I've drawn. Oh, I know this could never last. Oh, but maybe I'm a victim. I just got stuck with this disease. Oh, I'm just addicted to doing what I please. But I've had some time to think about my future, and I can't get out of my own way. I never get out of my own way. No, I just can't get out of my own way. No, I won't. It's just like yesterday. It's just like yesterday.
That's Jason Carl, just like yesterday. Registration begins later this month for a unique summer camp that helps kids be kids even though they're facing a tough time at home. It's called Camp Kesem. It's run by college students willing to give children whose parents have cancer a week to get away from all those worries. It's helped 5 million kids nationwide so far, and there are also plenty of rewards for the students who spearhead the effort each year. And Maddie Witt from Augustana College's chapter of Camp Kesem joins us right now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
What an amazing organization. How did you get involved?
I had a lot of friends in it, so my sophomore year I decided to join and haven't looked back, and now it's my senior year and I'm director, so it's been a great ride so far.
Accepting new camper applications January 15th. You're looking for 16 to 18-year-olds. How does that process go?
So we actually have a website. It's kesem.force.com, and you can sign your campers up there. So we take 6 to 18-year-olds, so wide range of kids, and we provide services for them not only during the summer but also throughout the year. So.
Now the camps aren't local.
No,
it's where?
In Boone, Iowa.
Exactly, in central Iowa. So what, they load the bus at Augustana, they all arrive at one day and then out they go?
Yeah, so we also have campers in the Des Moines area as well.
Sure.
So we have campers all over Iowa and in Illinois. So if your campers are like local to Augustana, you can drop them off and register them there like in the morning, and then we bus all the kids with our counselors to the campsite in Boone.
And it's a true summer camp.
Yeah.
But all the kids have something in common. How does that work then? Because I know you don't want to push the topic, because in a way they're trying to get away from the issues of cancer, but in so many ways they can bond with each other, or you can add a little bit of help.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, in true fashion, it's a summer camp. So all week we have games, activities, that the kids can just be kids, but then on Wednesday of every week we have an empowerment ceremony. So it gives the kids an opportunity to be able to talk about cancer if they want to, but it's not forced. We never force any kids to talk about it, but I think it's definitely one thing that all of the kids there have something in common. So if we're able to make sure that they feel supported through that, if they want to share, then that's our job as well.
Because it's a great chance for the kids to talk to the kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Even beyond the counselors.
Yeah.
July 7th through the 13th is one of the camps. July 21st through the 27th is another one of the camps. If a parent is interested in this and says, wow, this could be great for my child, you talked about the process of registration. What are the costs or anything else that's associated as far as the parents are concerned?
Yeah, so for us, we fundraise all year. It's completely free for the kids, so they don't have to pay for anything. The only thing that they would have to do is drop their kids off on the Sunday of camp and pick them up. We provide everything. So for us, that's our goal all year, is to make sure that we're fundraising so that these kids can get away from all of that and come for free and just be able to be kids for a week.
And you guys did a survey that found that 86% of parents said their children return more confident to address the issues. That really is an interesting way of putting it, because you want them to be more confident to deal with what they have to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. I think a huge thing for us, I mean, the mission of Camp Kesem is supporting kids through and beyond a parent's cancer. So we don't just serve them at camp, we serve them all year. We have friends and family days where kids can come and see their counselors and hang out with each other, but then also we send birthday cards on their birthdays and just make sure that throughout the year they're feeling that support and they're able to get that, because it doesn't just stop, like cancer never stops. So if we can provide anything for them, even a little bit throughout the year, that's really important to us.
And you don't mind kids returning year after year either.
No, yeah. We've been a chapter since 2011, so the national organization has been a thing since 2001, but we started in 2011. So we have campers that have come to our camp since the year we started, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
So yeah, being able to see them grow, even since I've been involved in it, is really amazing. I mean, even just in 1 week, sometimes you see how much it changes those kids just for a week, being able to be around people who they don't even have to explain their situation to, that they just understand what's going on.
It's a very big deal.
Yeah.
What about the volunteers? I mean, you've got a bunch of college students that are doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you find them? I mean, do you need more volunteers?
I think for us, we've done, we have volunteer coordinators, so being a director, we oversee a coordinating board, and our volunteer coordinators have done an incredible job of getting people involved and just seeing, I think, the effects of what we do encourages friends of counselors to get involved and join, and we even have just general body members who don't come to camp and who just help us throughout the year. So the volunteers at school, I think it's not as difficult because people around us kind of see what we're doing and see the effects and see how important it is. But yeah, for all of us, it's just all volunteer because we just want to help the kids in whatever way we can.
Yeah, and it's, you know, once you do it once, you want to do it forever and ever and ever. Tell me one more time, it's your last shot. Registration, how do you do it?
Yeah, so they open January 15th, the applications for new campers, and it's kesem.force.com. And the process is pretty easy. The national organization has made it really simple for people, and there's also, if you need help, you can always contact us. Our email is augustana@campkesem.org. So if there's any questions about registering or if there's anything that people need, they can come contact us and we can help them figure it out.
All right, Maddie Witt from Augustana College. Camp Kesem's coming up. Once again, registration starting January 15th. Get involved, it's free. It could do your child a lot of good. And please help us celebrate our 35th anniversary of providing public television in the cities. We're just a few weeks away from putting on a special party to mark our anniversary. Tickets now on sale for WQPT's Champagne on the Rocks event. It's coming up Friday, January 25th at the Davenport Outing Club. This year, the president and CEO of Public Broadcasting, Paula Kerger, will join us to talk about PBS programming for the future. It's a night for you to bid on great prizes, perhaps win some jewelry. Just get the details about Champagne on the Rocks at our website, WQPT.org. On the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Sing Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.